Hi, I'm Claudia Brown Coulter with Pivotal Peace, and I am your go-to mediator for navigating divorce while parenting children with special needs. Thank you for coming back to our sixth installment of Navigating Divorce with Special Needs Children. Today's topic is legal considerations when divorcing with special needs children. So let's go. There are things that you need to consider thoughtfully as you divorce, no matter if you have children or not. But when you have children, there is an extra caveat, and that's custody. What's going to happen with the kids and where do they go? Now, if your children have been identified as having some sort of special need, then that's even something extra you have to think about, because it no longer is, first of all, it's not the Parent Trap, you take one, I'll take one. It's not the 1 week on, 1 week off. It's not, I'm gonna move to Utah and I'll see the kid in the summer and you can have them all year long. Don't do that. But regardless, it's not as simple. First of all, divorce is not simple. Figuring out your parenting plan isn't always simple, okay, for anyone. But then when you add that extra layer of the support that your children need on top of that, it can get more complicated. But that's why I'm here. I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you think through things. So let's break a couple things down. When you are filing for divorce, at least in California, it's going to ask you on your petition, who's getting legal custody? Petitioner, respondent, or joint? And who is getting physical custody? Petitioner, respondent, or joint? And then if you pick just one person for physical custody, it'll ask you about visitation. Most of the time, people pick joint legal and joint physical custody. So your legal rights are the rights you have to know what's happening with your child. Okay, I'm not a lawyer. I can't give you legal advice, but I can give you on the street advice. Walking down the street, don't give up your legal rights. Don't give up your ed rights. Those are your education rights. Those are your rights to be in that IEP meeting and authorize and sign for services. Do not give up those rights. Do not give up rights to doctor's appointments and visits and the health information. Don't give that up. So when people are meeting with me, this isn't necessarily like, I'm going to take this from you. Usually when people are giving that type of stuff up, they're giving the whole child up. They're walking away. That's not good for kids unless that person who's walking away is really not a good individual. But for the most part, for the couples that I work with, usually, they ain't perfect, but they're not a horrible parent. So we don't want to give up those rights. And then that joint physical custody, sometimes people have this belief that joint custody means 50-50 custody. If it is joint, it must be split down the middle, as if your child is an asset that you can just divide in half and just be like, okay, we're good. It doesn't work that way. Your child's not a pawn. This isn't a game. Joint physical custody can be 50-50. But it could also be 80-20. It doesn't have to be 50-50 to be considered joint physical custody. Okay, so I really want you to think about that, especially as for you, if you're the primary caregiver, I understand the need and the desire to be like, I just want sole custody. I want sole physical custody. I want sole legal custody. I'm going to make all the decisions. I'm already doing all of the work, so I'm just going to keep doing all of the work. This other person's not going to help me at all. So I just want sole. Just me. Bye-bye. Sign your rights away. But I want to remind you, parenting a child is exhausting, even though you love them. And you're going to need a break. Now, before you say, I don't get any breaks. Yes, but If your spouse is home and you're able to slip out of the house for an hour or two to run to Target, you can't do that when you are the only adult at home. And I know that you're a good parent and you want to continue to be a good parent, but that won't happen if you are empty. You have to care for yourself because children take a lot from their parents because they're kids. That's what they do. And our job is to give to them and guide them and train them and help them to become good, productive members of society. But if you never have a break, you're not going to be able to be the best parent you can be. So don't necessarily jump to sole physical and sole legal custody unless you really have to. Okay, and then I want you to think about, too, the best interest of the child. When you go to court, the judge is going to be looking at what is in the best interest of the child. Now, I'm going to tell you something that you're thinking. How is the judge supposed to know what is in the best interest of the child? Honey, he doesn't. She doesn't. The judge doesn't know your children. How could they possibly know what is in the best interest of your child? They know what's in the best interest of children in general. Joint, legal, and physical custody. Equal exposure to both parents, an ongoing, continuing relationship, continuity of care, consistency, all of those types of things. But unless it's really, really dire, you probably shouldn't leave the decisions of your child, of what's going to happen with your child, in the hands of a stranger. This is not an IEP where you get to sign off on it. Or say, no, I don't agree, and the other parent. This isn't like that. So you have to take it really seriously if you decide I'm going to a judge. And I need the judge to decide this. When they are looking at the best interest of the child, they're looking at what creates stability for a child. What is a healthy environment for them? That's mentally, emotionally, and physically. What is a healthy place for them to be? This is one of the benefits of mediation. I understand that there are situations where you are opposed to your spouse having a certain time percentage with your child, and so you don't want to give anything away, and you'd rather have a judge decide that. I've talked to people, and people have told me that they have done that before, and I respect that decision. But most people come to an agreement without the support of a judge. And they do this through conversations. And a lot of times, there are some things that you can hammer out at the kitchen table with your soon-to-be ex, and it's fine. And there are other things where you just can't. And that's where mediation comes in. A mediator can help serve as a translator. They can help serve as an idea generator to help you guys understand one another, generate ideas, tell you what other people before you have done, and help you create a plan that is customized to your children and to your lifestyle. Because while the judge doesn't know your children and the mediator doesn't know your children, the difference is the mediator doesn't make decisions for you. Y'all make your own decisions. The mediator helps guide and facilitate that conversation. And let me tell you something else. From everything I've seen and heard, a judge would much rather you as parents come to an agreement about your children outside of the courtroom. They know it's better for your kids. And they want what's best and healthy for your children. So the benefit of mediation is you can take your time and really draft a detailed parenting plan. So while your neighbor down the street maybe has a week on and week off, you might not be able to do that. Maybe it's a couple of days with mom and then a couple of days with dad. Maybe you're switching things around. Maybe it's this person always has them for this length of time because of these appointments. Or maybe our days change, but whenever our child has this appointment, this parent is always the one to take them. You get to be creative and do things for your child that a judge might not necessarily order. I've seen couples as they're walking through their divorce go, well, well, we tried something last month. We didn't really like that timeshare. So we're going to try something new. And then we're going to try it for a month and see how that works. And then if we like it, we're going to continue it. And if not, we're going to try something else. So because they're working together, they're able to do that. And it gives them that ability to kind of finesse their plan before they put it in ink. And it gives them the ability to gauge their child and really see what is best for their child, what's best for themselves. It's beautiful. And that's the way it should be. And when parents can do that, their children thrive and they're happy. And so if you can't do that on your own, there is no shame in that. And let me tell you something else. You do not have to agree before you come to mediation. There's two things you really need to be committed to. First, you have to agree to mediate. And two, you really need to try to be committed to staying out of court. If couples are committed to staying out of court, they can reach a settlement. And do not be deceived. People be fighting in mediation. I'm like, whoa, woo, woo. It doesn't happen often, but it still happens. And I'm like, well, okay, I need to like blow a whistle and call a timeout because they're losing their minds just a little bit. But they've come back a week later and hammer out a plan. That is not uncommon. So please, please, please do not believe this myth that I have to agree to everything before I mediate. Well, what's the point of mediation then? If you're not getting along, that's your sign you need a mediator. If your child has special needs and you're trying to figure out a plan that works, that's your sign that you need a mediator who knows about special needs and can help you. Okay? Listen, I am here to support you and your co-parent because your child and your children are important and they deserve to have both parents in their lives and they deserve to grow up with the childhood. That's great. That is not marred by fighting because there was fighting in the marriage and there was fighting through the divorce and then there was fighting and bitterness after the divorce and then you're like a pawn in a game even afterwards and then people are rejecting the IEP and signing the IEP and refusing services. Your child has enough to deal with. They don't need that drama. Don't do that to them. Okay. That's all. That's my little talk for you guys today. But listen, if you're watching this video, it's because you're a responsible parent and you care about your child. I'm here to help you. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and share this video, and I'll see you soon.